I know we've been talking a lot the last couple of days about rescheduling. Unfortunately, I missed yesterday's episode, so I didn't get to hear everyone's opinions. I have a feeling I know where you guys stand. But for my story today, I just wanted to share a few more reactions from the industry. Let's get into that. Experts reveal marijuana rescheduling predictions, worries, and woes. So while the DEA decision on marijuana rescheduling has ignited a firestorm within the cannabis community, from tears of joy to fits of rage, opinions about the shift run the gamut. And after the announcement was made, Green State put out a call for reactions. And the cannabis industry delivered. Let me tell you what, I have not had such a busy day on the phone and via email in a really long time. It was a lot to go through. I pulled out some of my favorite quotes. I'm not going to run through all of them. I published quite a few, so if you want to see if you made it or what other people in your lane think, please go to greenstate.com. Let's talk about the folks who issued statements that were touting the perceived wins, acknowledging that cannabis does have medicinal value from the government, fewer restrictions on licensed businesses, potential tax windfalls. A lot of folks wanted to stick to the positives and not focus on any perceived negatives. For example, Omar Delgado, the VP of retail at Ivy Hall Dispensary, said, "The proposed removal of cannabis from its unjust Schedule 1 classification marks a historic day for our industry. The removal of cannabis from Schedule 1 is not just a victory for us, it's a victory for justice, freedom, and human rights." And John Mueller, founder and CEO of Greenlight, agreed, "Well, this is a major nail in the coffin on a failed 50-year prohibition policy. Good riddance. Let it rest in peace. Are more than ready to be recognized as a legitimate industry on its way to becoming a $50 billion market," unquote. Now, this quote actually was very interesting because what I've been seeing a lot online are concerns about what Schedule 3 will mean when it comes to the FDA, when it comes to dispensing a medication. But Darwin Miller, technical director at Cannabis Safety and Quality, claims, quote, "First and foremost, there's no need to worry about this rescheduling killing the state programs currently in place. There's lots of misguided discussions about this, but there's truly no need for the type of fear-mongering we've been seeing online. Nothing is going to fundamentally change," unquote. And a lot of people disagreed with that. I'm sure a lot of you saw a post from pharmacist Anthony Minetti going around the internet, who posted on LinkedIn saying, "I strongly advise you to read," oh wait, this is another post that he said it wouldn't embed right. But anyways, he was saying that it is going to change a lot of things. I know Beard Bros, Skunk, they posted about it.
Yeah, we read it. We read it yesterday. We read it yesterday.
So you guys know what the pharmacist said. And Bill agreed. He said, "At Beard Bros, we see this as an incredible positive from a medical and financial standpoint, but at the same time, a potential game ender for many currently in the cannabis industry. If anyone who endeavors to be in the industry now has to have a federal drug manufacturing license, that would be a death knell for most current companies, large or small." And Lindsay Meharry, aka Oyster Girl, she agreed that this was sus, as she said to me. "While it's a form of progress, it's not exactly a cause for celebration. Rescheduling is mirrored in uncertainty as the current framework of the industry does not fit into the big pharma-run prescription-based model of how other Schedule 3 drugs are created, bought, and sold. Rescheduling does nothing to address the actual issues facing the industry, like letting prisoners out, the plant's role in the prison industrial complex, and the mass extinction of small farms," unquote. And I have to say, I really liked Ed Rosenthal's take. He said, "I must be the only advocate frustrated and angry about the government's plan to slip marijuana from no medical use to restrictions as harsh as for codeine. Thanks a lot. You can shove it." Great words from Ed. But I would say, as we all, I think, probably agree and have seen by now, most feelings are mixed. Vladimir Bautista from Happy Monkey in New York said there are pros and cons, but we're moving the needle in the right direction. All the people who have been fighting for change for 80 years, people who went to prison or got deported over the plant, their work was not done in vain because we're getting the attention of the federal government. And Katie Ennight from Lavinia said, "My thoughts, it's a mix. There's an excitement for the opportunities it brings, relief for the societal shift it signals, and cautious optimism for implementation." And I would have to say, the quotes go on and on about that. I think everyone kind of agrees that while it is a, quote, step in the right direction, no one really knows what it actually means. Things could shift greatly for the industry. The consumers were not so sure. I'm working on something, actually hearing from the consumers. That's who I'm most interested in hearing from right now, getting out of the echo chamber that we exist in the industry. So I'm going to put it to you guys. We've heard from the industry. What do you guys think the consumers have to say, or what do you think they believe or think about this movement?
Well, first of all, Rochelle, I personally do not believe that it's a step in the right direction. So I differ from everybody else. Just for the record.
Noted.
Just for the record. Just for the record. But
I think the average consumer doesn't understand.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, the consumer is buying cannabis based off of an antiquated THC number. You think they're going to understand all of this and the nuances that are involved in that?
I don't think
the only thing that they're going to
legislator understands.
The only thing that they're going to understand is when all of a sudden they can't go to their store, or their store can't sell anything because they're state licensed or whatnot, and there's no product that they can sell legally federally because the FDA is going to take everything away.
That's Can you imagine your only choice is going to be CVS mids?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Imagine having to go to Walmart to get some mids, because this is what it's looking like.
I have to say, it's been really interesting to talk to consumers. I would say most of the people that I've talked to throughout this whole thing, they didn't even know what was going on.
Yeah, they don't have a clue. They don't have a clue.
They have no idea. They're not following it. They're not seeing it on their TikTok feeds. And so it's been interesting to try to educate people. My next door neighbor is an active duty military member, and he asked me, he's like, so does this mean that I get to consume now? Not saying that I will, but if I can get a prescription for Tylenol with codeine and that's okay, will I be able to consume it? So I thought that was a very interesting question. I don't hear anybody talking about military yet, or people in positions where right now they're not allowed to consume cannabis.
Well, I look at the legal aspects of it, because once they make it a Schedule 3, basically pharmaceutical companies will own marijuana production, cultivation, distribution. They'll have control of everything. Now, if anyone here watching, you know what happens to you if they catch you with prescription medications that's not in your name, right? You know what happens to you, right?
It's a felony.
So what we're looking at is, for them to open up a new way to criminalize marijuana also. And I don't see people talking about this as well, because once they schedule it to a level 3 and then they put all these restrictions on it, trust you me, they're going to go after the regular people like you and I who just want to be able to enjoy the plant.
Yep. And Rochelle, to your point, I don't see your neighbor being able to get a prescription for cannabis once it goes to Schedule 3. And the reason being is that the FDA already has drug preclusion on THC for Marinol and Epidiolex with CBD. So therefore, they would say that if you wanted these things, then they would say that you should go and get a prescription for those things, and he's not going to be able to get a prescription for just like going for an eighth of weed. So no, the answer will be no.
What happens when you're underprescribed and you're in Ohio? You can only get a tenth.
That's funny, bro. That's funny. That's funny, Rico.
Yo, why is Rico so damn funny today?
He's got jokes today. He's got jokes today.
Last night.
Mm-hmm. I bet. Let you tell it.
Oh man, this is the devil's in the details as always. We don't know what it means until it actually means something,
bro. You know,
and my bet is on Jason's foe, Kevin Sabet, bringing the heat with the real and telling us exactly when we will get that the pen to the paper, because his sources are better than Jason's.
I think we all know, and I think that every time these people has had some great idea for us, we realize that the idea is not a good one at all. So that's one thing I know. I know that.
You touched on it, Rachel. I said it earlier. They've all talked about the good things, the good parts of this change, but none of them are talking about the bad stuff, because the potential bad stuff is detrimental to this industry. If it goes the way all other Schedule 3 drugs are handled, this industry's over as we know it. So
yes.
Toast.
That's the thing. Now, that's worst case scenario, obviously. So somebody please come out and explain how you're going to handle that. How is cannabis going to be treated differently? That's what we need to know.
And they won't say that because they want to, like, I mean, headed into this election, you know, they want to give a bunch of ambiguous shit to get people's hopes up and get votes.
Mm-hmm.